Have you ever wondered what truly drives you? I mean, really. What if there was a way to decode your deepest innate nature, revealing not just who you are, but how you naturally contribute to the world around you? Today, we're taking a fascinating deep dive into something called the Core Values Index, or CVI. It's a remarkable assessment that gives us this unique picture of your core values, the very energies that quietly shape your personality, your reactions, and how you interact with, well, everything.
That's right. And the CVI isn't just, another personality test out there. It's really about understanding your specific blend, your unique ratio of 4 fundamental core value energies: builder, merchant, innovator, and banker. These aren't just labels we flap on. They're like the deeply ingrained operating systems that guide your actions, influence how you learn, and even shape the way you navigate conflict. Think of them as the foundational energies that power your unique approach to life.
Okay, yeah. And our mission today is to really unpack these insights. We're going to use a specific CVI profile, yours actually, as our guide. We want to show what this all means for your unique strengths, your challenges, and the optimal ways you learn and engage with the world. We've got a really comprehensive CVI report here, just full of compelling material to help us do exactly that. So let's peel back the layers.
All right, so the CVI tells us that each of us carries this distinct combination of these 4 core value energies. Each energy gets a score, 0 to 36. Now, these aren't just random numbers. It's your specific ratio of these energy scores that really paints the picture of your unique personality. It's like a personalized formula for your inner drive, right?
Exactly. And just to set the stage quickly, let's briefly define these 4 energies. First, the builder. This one is rooted in power. It's that personal energy focused on making a difference, creating tangible results. They're the ones who want to get things done, period.
The doers. Then you have the merchant, connected to love. This energy is all about nurturing core values in yourself and others, fostering connection, inspiring a shared vision. They thrive on enthusiasm and possibility.
Okay.
The innovator represents wisdom. This is the ability to truly see how things work, to understand complex systems, and, discern the best course of action. They're the problem solvers, the ones who always see another way.
Got it.
And finally, the banker. This corresponds to knowledge. It's the deep dive into the how and why of things, gaining and preserving important information. They're the detail-oriented guardians of facts and data.
That's a great quick overview. And what's really fascinating here, as I mentioned, is that we have the CVI profile for you, our listener, and it shows a really distinct pattern. Your specific scores really highlight this. Your primary core value is merchant love, with a pretty significant score of 25.
Yeah, that's high.
Then your secondary is innovator, wisdom, scoring 20.
Also quite strong.
And then we see tertiary builder power at 17, and minor banker knowledge way down at 10.
So what jumps out immediately is that a remarkable 63% of your core value energy comes from love and wisdom. That's a huge chunk. Your dominant merchant energy, driven by love, means you naturally excel at working toward an inspired vision, nurturing those around you, building powerful relationships, and providing a compelling direction for teams. And that's powerfully complemented by your secondary innovator energy, which embodies wisdom. This is your innate ability to accurately assess situations, see how things truly are, and consistently provide insightful solutions.
So if someone's primary is merchant and secondary is innovator, how does that actually feel for them day to day? Is wise love a good way to capture that core energy they bring?
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
You are quite literally the presence of wise love when you walk into a room. You intuitively look at circumstances through these dual lenses of, truth and compassion.
Yeah.
You operate from a place of reason and cognitive thinking to deeply understand people's needs and wants. But this is balanced by your intuitive capacity to really see situations, allowing you to observe until you fully grasp them, and then providing the best responses, strategy, solutions. Your highest and best contribution, where you feel most effective and fulfilled, often comes in situations where there's a significant constant need for exactly this blend of wise love. It's a really powerful combination.
Okay, let's peel back another layer then. Let's go deeper into your dominant merchant core energy, with love as your cornerstone. Building and sustaining relationships isn't just something you do. It sounds like it's central to your entire life strategy. You're constantly working to understand both yourself and others, right?
It's not just about relationships, so they're huge. Merchants, you need a strong, clear connection between what you're doing now and that future vision. You're always discovering new possibilities, and it feels fundamentally off sort of wrong when people you value are distant or in conflict.
Right.
You possess this natural enthusiasm. You thrive in engaging, energized situations. And what's fascinating is how excellent you are at getting others to work with you and for you, often by choosing your words carefully and finding confidence through that sense of togetherness.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. You seem to really enjoy new challenges and thrive on being that energizing force in others' lives. You trust people, share freely, and genuinely enjoy diverse people and activities. It sounds like charm and enthusiasm aren't just traits, they're kind of integral to how you succeed. Am I right in thinking that too much formality, too much structure is probably boring for you? And that free, open discussion is much more your natural leadership style?
Precisely. Motivating others with your visions is incredibly satisfying. And for a merchant, talking isn't just communication, it's actually how you learn and how you teach. The spice of your life often comes from something new and inspiring daily. Valuing others highly and being of high value to them, that's a prime concern. You have this incredible ability to help people feel hopeful and courageous. But, and this is crucial for merchants, there's a need to truly see people and things as they really are, not just as you might wish them to be.
So when we talk about merchants, we're really talking about exceptional team builders, aren't we? They're constantly excited by new ideas, almost assuming everything is possible. Their excitement isn't just personal, it's deeply infectious. Unlike builders, maybe, who are focused on the tangible result, merchants thrive on infecting the world with excitement for a common vision. They don't just create, they inspire, motivate, direct teams, and they sell, whether it's literally products or just their compelling ideas and visions.
That's spot on. Merchants truly excel at attracting others. And they nurture long-term relationships, often valuing them even more than the immediate results. They certainly get results, don't get me wrong, but often indirectly, by helping others see and seize opportunities. They love starting new things. And sometimes they'll only finish projects to avoid disappointing someone rather than because they value completion in itself. For them, being in the game, feeling the energy flow, that just feels good.
And this is where it gets interesting, right? Because without certain counterbalances, that enthusiasm can lead to some, well, unique situations. Without a banker maybe holding them back with details, they might be a bit reckless with resources.
It could be.
And without builder characteristics pushing for completion or that innovator problem solving to flesh out the how, they might start many things, finish few, but as you said, have a great time doing it.
Yeah, that can happen.
Yeah.
Merchants act from that place of love, energy, excitement, but they also hate redundancy. And they really dislike being measured, evaluated, or critiqued directly, though they certainly enjoy being watched when they're performing or inspiring others.
Yeah.
Yes, that's a key observation. Merchants often see the future, that inspiring vision, when others are maybe stuck in the past or present crisis. And they excel at selling that vision and creating energy around it. Their extrapolations are broad, which, might make a detail-oriented banker cringe a little.
Right.
But innovators actually love being around them because it means new problems to solve or new solutions to explore. They get to fill in the systems and steps a merchant only vaguely sees. It's a real synergy there, potentially.
Speaking of synergy, let's explore your secondary innovator core energy and how it supports that dominant merchant side. Your second cornerstone is wisdom. So for you, understanding and compassion are really central to your life strategy.
Strategic thinking is absolutely your forte. You have this innate ability to see and understand the relative worth of people and things. Developing effective responses to situations is one of your primary contributions. You're naturally skilled at bringing different elements together from various resources to make people and things function well, creating really effective solutions.
And I imagine you also like to maintain a good mix of people, activities, things in your life. Your willingness to see things through and wait things out must be a primary asset. You're probably not one to rush an incomplete solution.
Not usually, no.
You communicate with a powerful visuals, descriptions. People likely look to you for creating and improving workflow, procedures, that kind of thing.
That's right. You possess a remarkable wit and creativity in your thinking, always seeing another way to put things together. It's truly important for you to watch, look, and listen before you act. Finding the absolute best solution is a primary contribution, and you genuinely like to consider all the options before committing.
So that rapid, clever exchange of ideas must be a personal joy for you, and a key method of how you work.
Oh, yeah.
You're able to see the way things are and truly know what to do about it. You're likely seen as a valuable resource for leading people toward the right ideas, the right direction, preferring to lead through intelligent alternatives rather than just, raw assertion or power.
That's absolutely accurate. Acting foolishly or illogically isn't a common experience for you. You tend to utilize everything available to meet requirements and place a really high value on your mental abilities. Of course, with great strength often comes a unique set of vulnerabilities. We all have weak spots, right?
True.
For merchants, their Achilles heel often comes directly from that most dominant core value, love. When they feel disregarded, maybe embarrassed by criticism or unappreciated, they can unfortunately slide toward manipulation.
That's a really crucial point. Why does that happen? Is it because they're so committed to being the love in the room?
Exactly. They truly believe their love energy should inspire loyalty and motivation.
Right.
But when that love seems insufficient, maybe the team's in conflict, anxiety kicks in. And this can lead to trying to force love, which ironically often makes others feel manipulated and, well, unloved.
Yeah, that backfires.
It does. They might even become judgmental, thinking others can't handle the truth or something similar.
So what's the key insight there for a merchant?
The critical insight for a merchant in that moment is this. The most unloving thing a person can do is to continue to be the presence of love in a situation that actually needs more knowledge, power, or wisdom. A smart merchant learns to consciously shift to access one of those other energies when the situation really calls for it.
Okay. And when you combine that merchant tendency with the innovator's drive, you get a particularly interesting dynamic when things go, well, sideways. For the merchant-innovator combination, there are specific challenges. You can actually be unproductive for yourself and for society if you're unrestrained. You can get lost in the sheer rapture of big picture thinking.
The possibilities.
Right. Your merchant side constantly thinks of new possibilities, and your innovator thrives on challenges, almost hating to bring problem solving to a definitive close.
Which means new things are always coming onto your plate and old projects tend to stay in the works kind of indefinitely.
Yeah.
The CBI report actually suggests that if you're a merchant innovator, you truly need to surround yourself with high-energy builders who will push you to get it done, right? And level-headed bankers who will ground your amazing ideas by asking, okay, are you serious? How would that even work logistically?
It sounds like the seduction of new ideas, especially for improving people systems or creating new visions, can sometimes be more important to you than the actual implementation.
It can be, yeah.
So without significant external constraints, maybe deadlines, or a strong team of those builders and bankers, you might accidentally create as much disappointment as opportunity. As leaders, merchant innovators never really quit selling or solving the future, often having little attention left for detail because that next new exciting idea takes all their energy.
Okay, let's shift gears a bit. Moving to another vital area, understanding your core values gives us incredible insight into your natural learning styles. When lessons align with your core values, learning isn't just easy. It's fun, deeply engaging, and it sticks. It's long-lasting.
Okay, so for your dominant merchant energy, your natural learning style is very much talk and listen. Makes sense. This sounds like a high-energy, fun, team-oriented kind of experience. So what works for you is probably games, situation dramas, group and individual presentations, especially with lots of pictures, illustrations, videos.
Visuals, yeah.
Short, informative lectures, maybe 5-10 minutes, followed by instant application and a fun exercise. That sounds perfect.
Apply it now.
Personal sharing in small teams, one-on-one relating to personal topics, anything that teaches about love and truth, nurturing yourself and others, how people relate, that's going to grab your interest, isn't it?
Absolutely. Now, conversely, what doesn't work so well for you as a merchant is probably sitting through long data dumps, information sessions.
Right. Boring.
You'd likely be bored by extensive research and solitary assignments. Books shouldn't be overly academic or highly literal, and long lectures without any interaction.
Forget it.
Those are absolute attention killers for you. You actually think and make decisions as you talk, working out problems through discussions, enjoying supporting each other. You also strongly dislike direct measurement of results, personal conflict, or any criticism in front of others. That's a big one.
Okay. And then for your secondary innovator energy, the learning style shifts to observe and solve.
So for you, complex, difficult challenges aren't just engaging. They pretty much have to be at the core of the learning experience for it to work.
That's right. You excel with things like situation stories that have multiple complex outcomes, brainstorming, scheming, gathering information using all 5 senses, but not necessarily that deep, detailed, exhaustive research a banker might love.
Hmm.
Clever mysteries, puzzles, systems assessments, real-life, hard-edged stories with complex strategies. That's your sweet spot.
Okay.
The core value of wisdom has to be honored here. You need complex situations to evaluate. Your self-esteem is often deeply linked to the size and difficulty of the problems you get to solve.
Interesting.
You need to make individual assessments, develop your intellectual powers, and then share your observations. You're competitive with ideas, and you thrive on those interactive storm and solve sessions.
And what about the flip side? What doesn't work for you as an innovator learner? Well, spontaneous high-energy exercises that don't give you enough time to develop a comfort level or really work out a good solution can be frustrating.
Right. Need time to think.
Exactly. Easy problems or just being given the answers. That will quickly disengage you. Repetitive tasks or simple number transfers are a big no. You want to be creative, clever. While you can talk for hours with engaging questions, Socratic dialogue, you absolutely need ample time to make those assessments and craft solutions.
Okay.
Homework is often good for you, actually, because you need that isolation and quiet for your best wisdom work. And finally, avoid controlling, irrational, or overly emotional teachers. You'll either shut down and not participate, or possibly even disrupt. And definitely don't belittle your ideas or set you up for quick decisions and ridicule. That kills the innovative spirit.
Right.
Okay, now let's turn to conflict. It's a natural extension of our core values, how we react under pressure. Each core value has a sort of negative conflict strategy, a default reaction when stressed. For you as a merchant innovator, understanding both the art of manipulation from your merchant side and the art of interrogation from your innovator side is really key for navigating disagreements effectively.
Let's start with the merchant's negative strategy. Manipulation. It's surprisingly effective sometimes because people generally assume integrity, and let's face it, most people like to be liked.
It's true.
So a manipulative merchant can appear outwardly loving, even fearless, while maybe claiming victim status to make others seem at fault. They might exaggerate, stretch the truth, lie sometimes, or use these high-energy emotional attempts to get compliance, all aimed at appearing faultless and unaccountable.
The real danger here is that their word can become untrusted over time. Their positive visions, which are usually genuine, might eventually be seen as just another ploy. This behavior generally stems from feeling unloved, disregarded, or unfairly blamed. And while merchants are generally very forgiving people, once they feel truly slighted, deeply hurt, they can actually become the least forgiving, holding on to a kind of roster of offenses to justify future actions or mistrust.
Wow, that's a very clear picture. So how do we best diffuse merchant manipulation when we see it happening or feel it happening?
Now, there are a few effective strategies you can try. First, assurance of love. Simply affirming the value of the relationship, validating the individual's worth, can really help them drop their defenses.
Okay, connect with the person.
Exactly. You could also choose to end the situation temporarily. A power-based response like, look, I'm not willing to continue with this right now, followed by a clear commitment to reconnect later, can stop that unproductive cycle while still showing respect.
Got it. Pause it.
Right. A wisdom-based approach is to give a chance to share a positive accomplishment. Try to look past the emotion and ask an honest question that allows them to highlight a success, something they did well. That helps them regain self-respect.
Nice.
And finally, report previous successes to others, highlighting their past positive contributions and relationships, especially maybe in front of a group that's important to them, can powerfully reestablish their sense of integrity and value.
That's incredibly insightful, thank you. Now let's talk about the innovator's negative strategy. Interrogation. This sounds like a highly effective ploy because it catches others off guard, doesn't it? It often reveals their ignorance and establishes the interrogator's intellectual superiority.
It really does. It's designed to strip away the reasonableness from others' arguments, making them look foolish with these cutting, sometimes vindictive questions. Yeah. The core weakness of this approach, though, is that others may then start to interpret the innovator's naturally positive, idea-driven brainstorming, which is usually meant well, as just part of this cruel tactic. And that leads them to hold back their own valuable contributions, fearing they'll be shot down.
Right, it shuts down collaboration. So how do we best diffuse innovator interrogation?
Okay, a few tactics here too. One powerful way is to ask an honest question about the interrogator's intent. This could be a real surprise. Questions like, are you trying to hurt me with that question? Or maybe, do you really want an answer to that question? Or are you making a point? That can often break through their defensive facade.
Turn it back on them gently.
Kind of. Another strategy is simply to return facts and information. A knowledge-based approach. Just provide neutral, non-emotional facts. That can diffuse the situation because innovators are naturally drawn to information. Alternatively, sometimes just remaining quiet and non-responsive can work. You provide no fuel for the interrogation. You can also acknowledge the interrogator's usual wisdom. This is more of a merchant-based approach. Assert your need for their wise counsel with integrity. You might say something like, look, I was really hoping that you would give me some good advice like you always do. I'm kind of counting on that from you. That can diffuse their need to defend their wisdom.
Validate the shrink.
Right. And lastly, sometimes the most direct way is to name that strategy. A power-based response delivered calmly without intimidation, like, it feels like you're trying to interrogate me right now. I'm not really interested in continuing this, and then physically leaving. That can be highly effective. Innovators are often quite reluctant to engage in direct, open conflict.
Okay. So as we wrap up this really fascinating deep dive, it's so clear that you, our listener with this profile, are primarily a merchant, fundamentally driven by love, and secondarily an innovator, deeply driven by wisdom. Your inherent assignment, your sort of natural inclination, is to be the effective presence of wise love, looking at situations through the eyes of both truth and compassion, and then discerning the broad way forward.
Yeah. This deep dive truly highlights that your highest and best contribution in the world really comes when you fully embrace this unique combination. You're uniquely wired to build teams, solve complex problems with creative and insightful solutions, and inspire genuine optimism around you.
So thinking about everything we've discussed, what stands out to you from this deep dive? How does understanding your dominant merchant and your secondary innovator energies resonate with your own experiences, both the strengths and maybe some of the challenges we talked about?
And maybe consider this provocative thought as you move forward. In a world that is constantly desperately yearning for deeper connection and brilliant, clever solutions, how can you, with your unique blend of wise love, intentionally step into situations? Not just to solve the problems you see, but to actively inspire the very environment where those solutions can truly flourish and endure long term. How might truly leveraging all your core energies, even acknowledging and working with their vulnerabilities, lead you to a deeper, more profound form of fulfillment and impact than perhaps you've ever imagined?